Hi there, my name is Ronnie Mickle, and I'm the owner and founder of Notary Stars, and I'm here with Jabari Bristow today, one of our newest certified notary signing professionals. He just recently passed our Notary Stars exam. This exam now opens doors for Jabari to service clients not only in and would help me out, Jabari, Valparaiso, Indiana. Not only helps him service local clients, but because you are a remote online notary, opens doors for you to service clients all over the country as well. Now, the purpose of this video is to kind of get to know you so that customers that are coming through Notary Stars will learn a little bit more about you. I know that I've personally saw your growth, since you've become a member, and I've seen you come from the back of the students line and start asking questions and get involved into the notary community, asking questions. How can you grow your business? And how can you do better at your job, which is more important. And that's one of the things that I value about you the most and working with you is that your conversation has not just been how do I grow my business, but how do I do this right and really service my community. So Jabari, first of all, let's start out with you telling us a little bit about yourself. What made you, first of all, what did you do before you decided to become a notary?
Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you. Well, first of all, Valparaiso is the name of the city, and we say we are Valpo for short, Valpo, Indiana. All right. Um, the other thing is, so for me, uh, it was kind of like trying to show someone else that to take initiative when I became a notary. You know what I'm saying? So I, I I'm an employee at Amazon, right? So I actually was working in the warehouse downtown. Then I got out here towards downtown Chicago originally. Then I got out here and became a fleet manager. Well, I started driving and worked my way up to a fleet manager for Amazon delivery drivers. Um, so again, I was trying to show someone else, to take initiative, and actually, go out and be valuable to the community and be an asset to others. And that way you can grow as an individual and financially. So basically, long story short, in showing them, I went out and got my commission, and it was just like I started getting more and more attracted to the whole industry. Once I learned about being around, I wanted to do that like during my downtime, waiting for my drivers to come back on the job at Amazon. And so that's when I was with Blue Notary, kind of studying their little thing, and I seen a little video with a little guy there named Ronnie. And from there, I went to General Mentorship, and I've been hooked ever since.
So let me ask you, when you first got your notary commission, did you have any idea of all the things that you could actually do with your notary commission?
It was clueless, Ronnie. I'm telling you, when I say clueless, I didn't even know what a notary certificate was. I mean, I knew what I seen those before, and I knew you put a stamp on it. But when I say I didn't know what it was, I didn't know the elements. I didn't know that the venue was the venue. You get what I'm saying? Like I
Hmm.
literally was clueless. I just knew you can get paid for putting a stamp on a piece of paper and your signature. So all of the things that come with Notary Stars and Notary to Pro has raised my game like so much. Like I am fully, aware now of what it is I'm doing. Whereas before I just thought I could just sign and stamp.
Now you said a name there that I have to give some nods to. Notary to Pro. Carol Ray was one of my mentors before Notary Stars. When I was only running a signing service, I contacted her because I needed to get better trained notaries throughout the country, and she basically gave all the notaries I was working with 50% off at that time just to take her training. And then my business just started to boom. And then she and I, God rest her soul, um, decided that it would be okay for me to expand on that training with Notary Stars. She was one of my great mentors, so I'm so wonderfully delighted that you to hear that you're also a Notary Pro graduate. It means so much to us, and it's one of the things that my signing service that we look for notaries is respectable training like Notary Pro, Notary Stars, Notary Academy. I love hearing that you've also done two training courses, Jabari, because that tells me that you are really serious about this. I see it a lot in the industry where notaries tend to think that they get their commission and that's it. That's all they have to do. Let me ask you, does Indiana have state training that you have to take in order to become a notary?
So there is a little online class that you take and then to renew it, and especially for Ron. But it's more so about, regulation. It's not in-depth course. It does not give you an education. You get what I'm saying? It touches
Hmm.
on some of the outlier regulations, that I guess that they see a lot of errors in.
Hmm.
But and also uh, in order to do real estate closings in the state of Indiana, you do have to you do have to hold a title producer's license,
Okay.
right? So that does open your eyes as well. One thing I will say is, and I've talked to you about this before, whereas before I was also trying to dabble into real estate. And a lot of my experiences come from, helping, trying to be try to make my mom proud. Bottom line, I mean, may she rest, and she's always here with us. I've always tried to make her proud. My mom was a school teacher for over 40 years. You get what I'm saying? So me coming up, where all the kids was out playing in the summertime, we had homework before we can go outside. So those hardworking habits came from childhood, and they just kind of stuck with me throughout the years. Um, and the point is, once she transitioned um, to the other side, I wanted to do something to make her proud. So I took some of the funds from her annuity that was given to me and tried to get into real estate and tried to do some investing. And long story short, it was a failed investment, that really, I took a L on, but the L also was a lesson. It was a big, huge lesson. And I didn't, it's like Rocky Balboa, you can get knocked down, but it's about how you get back up. And part of this, journey for me in the notary side is learning the insides of what the magic that happens at the table, so this has been a great experience for me to learn, from that perspective of real estate investing and then going ahead and learning how this actually works and what a proper transaction actually looks like.
Now let me ask you, we're talking about real estate sector, and I had just asked, did you know all the things that you could do? Have you looked into estate planning or apostille or document translations or all of those things? Have you been adding those into your business? And what do you think you're going to specialize in as a notary? Because I've found that a lot of notaries will pick out of the array of things that we can do to add into our notary business. A lot of them will pick some that they really gravitate toward the most. Are there certain things that you are gravitating toward the most with your notary business?
While I do love loan signings, I also learned from you guys at Notary Stars to broaden my horizons. So I did take a course with Miss Laura. I don't want to mess up her name, Laura Bauer,
Mhm.
on the Earth
Laura Beaver.
Certified Laura Buer.
Yes.
And basically, with her course, I became a certified trust delivery agent as well. So, studying that aspect of it and learning the different facets of a trust and how to execute those documents has been a great education. It also opened my eyes to, how to use a e-journal. So there's many different aspects of this that have made my business grow and made my education, like my mind is now open to all of those opportunities, all of those different services that I could provide. I'm also looking to get into the apostille because I've gotten some calls where I've had to pass that service on to other notaries because I wasn't fully educated. And of course, if I'm not just going to, kind of wing it. I prefer to provide a top-notch service than a half service at all. So, but at the same time, I am looking to get into those courses and expand my horizons on that as well.
Well, Jabari, I have to tell you, I have great news for you because you just passed our certification exam. you now have access to my Wix dynamic template, which I personally designed. I'm actually a Wix Legend partner, meaning that I have the ability to do some things that the average person couldn't do. And I put together a template that could go out to anywhere in the local area, national or international for raw notaries. But with apostille, this is and document translations, this is something that you can sell nationwide. Now, as a local notary, you're only confined to the area that you can drive to or are willing to drive through and what the customer is willing to pay to get you there. However, with apostille, you can do them in multiple states and hire the runners and do them yourself. And for document translations, you can be anywhere. So, I highly recommend that you don't stop because you're already having access to that template where you can sell your remote online notary nationally. And that's already in the palm of your hand. If you haven't requested it yet, make sure you go into the marketing section of Notary Stars now that you've passed that exam and grab that template and get to work on it. It's a 30-day challenge to get it customized for your business. You do have to pay the Wix hosting on it, but it is a part of your membership to use that website, and it's specifically for your business. So I love to hear that you've added estate planning. By the way, Laura Bewer and Jen Neitzel, for the Certified Notary Trust Delivery Agent, are joining us in the new year, 2026, in order to have these conversations about estate planning. And I'll be adding in marketing and how to use that website that I just told you about, on how to use that Certified Notary Trust Delivery Agent certification and get more business. So there is more to come with these conversations. And then, I always have to say I recommend John Nelson for training. I mean, I know that you for a fact have been on those general mentorship calls with the apostille, but John is a plethora of knowledge. And when you're ready, if you haven't taken his apostille course, I know it seems like course after course after course after course, but I have to tell you, to grow your business, in order to add a new product or service, you really have to know what it is that you're going to add. But the key after that is marketing. Um, Let me ask, are you still at your full-time job?
Am and and it's funny you mentioned that because I was just about to say all of the things that you are you are advising. I definitely want to look into. It's just right now, and as people can't tell by your sweater, what season we're in right now. It is peak season at Amazon, and I mean my route count is going up like. I mean, my days are like forever now, and the challenges, with all the things that come with the weather here in the Midwest. So yes, I am still dealing with that, which I'll be honest, that was one of my first um, love affairs, I should say, with customer service.
Hmm.
Um, uh, Seeing the smiles on people's face when you pull up with those packages, you wouldn't believe it until you become a driver. And that, and then, some of the elderly people and, being able to take care of those needs, that introduced me to being a service to others and how impactful that could be. And
Hmm.
so I use that and I look at those courses that you guys have on Notary Stars about, being a superstar in customer service. And I do highly recommend anybody who has not looked at it, please check that out because it's so extremely valuable. And that is, being a customer service uh, hero and also taking pride in everything you do. This goes back to my mom, Sadie Bristow, talks all the time. She would tell me, I don't care what you do, young man. If you're going to sweep the floor, they better say you swept the hell out of that floor. It does not matter what you do. Make sure your name, if they say Jabari did it, they better say he done that.
Yes.
And so I've always stepped up to the plate in that way, based on her guidance and coaching throughout life. But I will say, you guys have taught me as a notary how to perform that way or every time I step to the table. And so that, along with customer service, has my business really thriving. I would say those two things alone. Obviously the education, but the education is a part of the excellence. You get what I'm saying? So it's all about putting your best foot forward every single time you step up to the plate and taking pride in helping others. And now you could add those things that you're mentioning, as long as you continue to put your best foot forward with the apostille, with estate planning, with all the other things. But you can add those to your repertoire. But the first thing is first, and that's being of service to others, and the other is taking pride in everything you do. And you can add features from there.
Well, first of all, I have to say thank you for watching the customer service champion segment of Notary Stars. I filmed that a few years ago, and it's actually one of the most things I'm proud of on the website because I feel like that's how I found my own greatness. Now, in your talking, you said you taught me, and I did not teach you customer service or not a part of that. You have that in you, and everyone has that in them, but you you connected with it because you believe in it. And, I have to tell you that it warms my heart because we live in an industry where people are just like, well, I want to make money doing this. And hear you saying that you work at Amazon, you're fighting the weather, you're getting those packages, you love those customer smiles. And now to hear that you're looking at the notary industry in the same light that you're looking for that. I remember waiting tables and there would be a crowded restaurant and somebody would be out sick and I would have a double section that night and looking back and remembering that all my tables were taken care of and that good feeling that just comes over your body where you're like, whew, little pressure, but I got this. And I'm pretty sure you're feeling that for Christmas. Time this year, I'm wearing my ugly Christmas sweater today specifically for this. I love this time of year. And but I want to know, are you doing this as a side hustle, or are you planning on doing this as a job career one day? What are you planning to mold your notary career into? Because everybody can mold their business differently.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. This is I'm growing into this full time. Let's put it like that. I'm definitely growing into this full time. It's a matter of transitioning smoothly and smartly, obviously, based on everything that I have going on. But definitely full time notary. Um, Notary signing agent, estate planning, trust delivery agent, and apostille. Absolutely. I think for me, and as you can see on my what I used to have my saying, my favorite saying. You can have anything in the world that you want if you help enough other people get what they want.
Hmm.
And I've learned that from Zig Ziglar, and it really does. I mean, when you say enough other people, you have to think about, and that goes back to another title that I wanted to talk to you about, because you're always mentioning books. 10x. I would
Hmm.
rep. I would. Oh my goodness. When you talk about 10x, it's talking about actually thinking bigger, doing more, making more of an impact. And I didn't know what that was until I worked at Amazon, and then the volume started going up and up and up, and it's like, okay, yeah. When you say help enough other people, what is enough? That's a huge word that you have to put your own number on in your mind. But I feel like I want to make an impact on generations, if that
Hmm.
makes sense, future generations, because um, we have to pass the torch on, but in a way that impacts them to want to pass the torch on, if that makes sense.
I gotcha. Do you have any fears, or have you had any fears about moving more into the notary industry? I know for one of my greatest fears was health insurance because when you leave that 9 to 5 job, that's an expense that you share with a group of people at that company, and a lot of times they pay a portion of it. Do you have fears of moving like over into like full time? Is there anything that scares you about it?
Um, I wouldn't say fears. I would say apprehension. I would say my wisdom from my previous failures has taught me to set benchmarks, and to be prepared to make that transition. I don't. One of my other mentors taught that his first goal was to make as much part time on his fortune making as he was on his full time job. And then after that, he wanted to make twice as much part time as he was on his full-time job. And once you meet those goals, and you have to, everybody's situation is different, but that those are creating benchmarks. And so by creating those goals and creating those benchmarks for myself, I think it opens my heart to being able to go ahead and go with no fear once you, understand what the actual goal is.
Jabari, I appreciate that logic there. During the downturn when COVID started coming to an end and interest rates went up, they're now coming down again, which is great. We're actually starting to see. I think Unlimited Ink has been told that our largest client's going to be putting in 7 to 10,000 orders across the country, which is amazing to hear. But during the downturn, you're kind of right. You set the benchmarks, and I think a lot of people around me were like worried. They said, "Oh, it's coming to an end, this is it." And Unlimited Ink during the entire downturn, which we thought would be a year, then it was going to be 2 years, then it was, 3 whole years that this has been going. We're now going into 2026, and COVID ended in what, like 2022 or
Mhm.
2023. So, it kind of got back to where we are now. And, seeing all this business coming back and seeing the people on YouTube that I follow saying, "Hey, we're doing well." That benchmark that we were at, we never went below it. What I did was I just went out and got more business. I got business to replace. People didn't close or anything. It's just that their file levels went down, so I just added more clients. And now we're actually scared with the comeback because now we have more clients and their volume's going up, and it's starting to be like, okay, what have we gotten ourselves into? But we have a great team here, and you're kind of right. I want to comment on that. I love that logic. That was an interview question, so to speak, but I love that you were able to take that and be like, listen, that's a benchmark. And I just told another notary, I love notaries talking about their success. They said they had their best year ever this year. And I said, now I actually used your words. It's on our Facebook group. It was just yesterday. I said, now you have a new benchmark, or I didn't use the word benchmark, but I said, you've now set the bar. That was my words. You've now set that bar. And I kind of feel like that with everything I do. Once you set a bar, you now know that you can go here. And I've always told people the first day I turned on Notary Stars, the very first day, within hours, someone signed up and I'd never done any advertising. And I knew I had something. I knew if I could make one user, I could make 10,000. And, now we have 10,000 plus. It did take 7 years to do, but we were able to do it. And we've grown a really nice network that is now being respected across the country with title agencies, attorneys, and we're working for more ways to get the word out. You being a part of the community and being one of the very first people to take our tests. We've always been a continuing education course, but you're now one of the very first people to hold our certification. I am honored, especially talking even more with you in depth today, learning more about who you are and how you've taken your brain and applied it toward this industry. I look forward to working more with you in 2026. Now, I know that it's busy right now at Amazon, but hopefully after the new year, it'll slow down. I can't wait, and I really hope that anybody who watches this will go out and add you to their list. If they're not in signing order in 2026, they'll be able to filter you out. Signature closers will be sent your certification. We do that on a different process with them. We've got one more big company coming in 2026 that's already promised hirings, but there are still companies that are on different platforms that you can use the certification with. So I want you to wave it like a flag on your resume. I want you to use it. And I personally am looking forward to in 2026. I'd love to see you on some Unlimited Ink files. We're definitely going to be in Indiana because we have our largest client. We've always been nationwide, but we've always had about, I think it's 28 states that primarily they permanate from. But our largest client is now moved into all 48 states for buyer seller refinance. And we are doing three of the largest lenders in the country. So I know that I will be having signings in your area, and I would love, to get you on more signings in the year. I can work with your Amazon schedule. My best advice to you is as you grow your notary business, and it sounds like you already know this, even if you're doing it part-time, every signing you do, treat it like you're doing it like it's your full-time career. They will remember you. And I have notaries all over the country that have full-time jobs and that they only do, 5 to 8 p.m., or they might do early morning before they start their second shift. And I have to tell you, when they're a great notary, I will hold off sometimes orders just to make sure I get a great notary. Sometimes I will go back to my client and be like, could we move this like 30 minutes? Because, for you, for instance, knowing that you have that certification, I might say to a client, hey, listen, there's 20 notaries in the area, but Jabari made 100 on his test. Let's wait for Jabari. And they're always going to hold out for a good notary. You may have people just waiting for you to respond. So now that you have this great power comes great responsibility. Make sure that people know that when you're working your full-time job, what hours you are able to do it, and let them know, like, I will make sure that this is done complete and properly, and I will not let a full-time job affect my part-time schedule as a notary. I promise you, with those words, they will hear it. And having that certification is going to let them know that you're serious, because on our certification, anybody who takes it, it's not for the faint of heart. You took it. Let me ask you, was it an easy test?
Oh no, sir. No, sir. Absolutely
We
not.
know.
It was challenging, it was sweating, it was thought invoking. But I love it because it challenges not just your knowledge, but your critical thinking skills. So I really appreciate everything. You not only have to attend, class, but you have to look at all of the courses and the study and the videos. I mean, I watch those videos all the time, though. If anyone, is serious about it, when you get work, like even today, before I get ready to go on a signing, I'm looking at the video for that type of file so that I can be prepared with not only my scripts but just the product in general. So I mean, what you guys provide at Notary Stars is definitely unmatched. I mean, I haven't taken too many other courses. I don't know what all is out there, to be honest with you. But I will say the ones that I've taken, the Notary to Pro, obviously, NNA, my local stuff, and they all provide their valuable information. But what you guys provide is by none, through the roof. And with Miss Beth and the team being there to answer your call when you're ready is just a tremendous help. You are a extremely uh, great leader. And I'm saying that from the perspective because at Amazon, one of the things that we value most is leadership. And what I see in you as a leader, because you inspire others to be the best version of themselves, and I really appreciate that. I think that's one of the things that really brought me into the Notary Stars community is the authenticity and the leadership. The way you are encouraging others, and it's not here, come here, learn this stuff so that you can work hard for unlimited ink. It's like, no, come and be the best version of yourself to provide for your family, and I really appreciate that, and I'm sure anybody who comes to Notary Stars could appreciate it.
You keep saying you guys, you mentioned Miss Beth. I do want to do a shout out before we wrap up this interview here. And I want to tell you, I get a lot of flack. I just have to mention this. I get a lot of flack, and you've been a really great positive light, ray of light in my life, just so you know. Um, I get a lot of flack. People think because I own a signing service and I own Notary Stars that they're combined. They're not. I am just one of the many companies that hire Notary Stars training, and now even bigger names than I ever dreamed of being are hiring the Notary Stars. When you say you guys and you say you're the leader, I'm definitely the founder. I had a vision, but I don't necessarily know that I'm the leader. So I'd like to give a shout out to my team. You mentioned Miss Beth. Before Beth got here, I did teach loan signings. Out of necessity, I was trying to teach everybody I could so that I could get better trained notaries for unlimited ink. But then as Notary Stars caught on, Beth had been she had worked with me in many ways before at my signing service and as a colleague and through Notary to Pro meetings. Beth is an intricate part of our team, and she took what I was doing and just took it to the next level. She freed up my hands, and then I found a really great partner there. And so for a while, it was just me and Beth. Then we brought on Kirsten and Amy, and Amy handles everything. She is an expert at remote online notary in all 50 states. She is so
Yeah,
brilliant.
he's awesome.
Kirsten is probably one of the hardest working notaries for her own business and built a business. And we saw such value in where she was and actually brought her own onto Notary Stars because we need someone to kind of touch that newer notary side as well. And then, of
Absolutely.
course, we most recently added in Mr. Manuel, who is helping our notaries, not only the bilingual notaries. I think a lot of people don't understand this. If you don't speak two languages, then you need to know how to partner with notaries who do because you're leaving your customers hanging. And your customers, if they are in your vicinity or they come to your website, that's still your customer. You should have a way to help them.
Absolutely.
So I know a lot of people look up and say you're the leader, but it was just a vision. And I have to tell you, every single person on this team leads in their own way, but we all work together behind the scenes. I try to alleviate myself from being the leader when it comes to our team. And I know I've even had to have this conversation with them at times. Sure, it was my initial vision, but only this year have I really started, in 7 years, started to see that side of the business, Notary Stars, that sector of what I do in my life come to fruition. We now have John Nelson, Gabriel Sturgis, Laura Bewer, Stephanie Russo, Jen Neitzel, all coming together at a dinner table to have a feast every Monday with our notaries out in the community. And our team really struggled to get this robust training that you're talking about, all these things on the site. That is 7 years of downloading our brain into articles, into training material, into things. And you would have never heard me say this until about the beginning of this quarter. I said, I don't think there's anything else we can add. Now it's just maintenance. Like
Yeah, no,
like there's nothing
yeah,
else
no,
we can
there's
do.
there's a whole lot of plethora of information and tidbits, and I mean, just maybe a month or so ago, I watched a video on Notary Stars about how to re-ink my stamp. I mean, there's literally everything that under the face of the sun there. So I really appreciate it, and you guys are great. The entire team is great. I'll be honest with you. I even super found a lot of value from the video where Travis is teaching errors that notaries should not make. Watch out for these errors. Don't make the. I watch that over and over and over, and I promise you, the entire team, man, everybody has a lot of wisdom to bring to the table. So I really appreciate it.
You just mentioned one more name that I gotta give a shout out to. Travis does work mostly at Unlimited Ink, but he does visit Notary Stars quite often. He is my business partner at Unlimited Ink Notary. And, I have to say, we cannot forget to mention him. He's been a huge contribution to uh, what we do here. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to do all the things that we do between the two companies. He really frees up my hands to be able to work on the Notary Stars website, the training, the bringing in business for Unlimited Ink. So thank you for mentioning him. I could have got out of here. It's kind of like when you go to the Oscars and you're like, okay, I got to thank everybody in my life. But I want to turn it back to you, Jabari. I want to thank you for your dedication to excellence. That's our slogan here, dedicated to signing agent excellence. And you've been with us for quite some time now. And then we opened the certification because it's now a requirement by these larger companies saying, hey, can you prove that these notaries took this training that you have? We love your training, but can you prove that they actually took it and absorbed it? And you were one to step to the front of the line and say, let me do this. So it's just a testament to, who you are and what you want for your business. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen in 2026 for you. There is more business coming from the real estate sector because interest rates are lowering. Um, but now that you're moving into estate planning, and I hope to see you on the document translation and apostille, I can't wait to see what's going to happen for you in 2026. And I want that bar for you to go so much higher than Amazon that you're like, I can't stay here. I only want to do this. And I know that you'll get there in your time. But it's been a pleasure working with you. And I have to tell you, I love when you're on general mentorship. You are always such a ray of light for all the other notaries out there, and your story and the questions that you ask and the things that you share. You are always one of the most positive people in the community. I've never seen you come with a complaint, maybe a question, but never a complaint. If you are looking, you're either looking for a solution or commenting on something that can help another notary. You really are coming from a place that I really admire. You come from your heart, and it's very well recognized within the community. So thank you so much for not only being a notary star, but letting your star shine.
Thank you, sir, for having me. And it's nothing but an honor to be a part of the entire community because I'll be honest, touching each and every one of the notaries, not just you guys as Notary Star leadership, but also the different notaries in the community, being a part of each class, not just Monday general mentorship, which is outstanding. It's always starting my week great. But, talking to the different fellow Notary Stars during the membership classes, it's inspiring, it's educational. You learn something new, some new tricks, some new ways to approach things. So I appreciate the entire community. I appreciate you guys for having me. I appreciate you having me on this interview and definitely the certification, which has been nothing but an honor this entire process. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to upload this to your Notary Stars profile, and more people will learn about you in 2026 from this interview. So I look forward to circling back. Maybe we'll do a future interview to see where you are, come 2026, 2027, now that you've gotten this next certification and headed toward more things. But don't forget, Jabari, before I end this, I want everybody to hear it. Now that you're on that, one level of Notary Stars that you get everything, don't forget to start your website.
Absolutely.
It's a small journey to take, and I know you're at that time of the year, but if you can afford an hour on a Saturday, through the holidays or whatever day, an hour here, an hour there, you'll be done before you know it. And in 2026, you could launch your nationwide presence for your remote online notary business and service customers. And here's the great thing, no matter what hours you're working, there's always somebody in the world that needs a remote online notary, and our websites cater to the entire, all the U.S. embassies, all of the United States. So no matter where a person is, they can find you and hire you as a remote online notary. So let's just say you have a small window. A lot of signings we get are like 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, because they're on the other side of the world and it's like evening time, their time. So they're finishing their day going, I got to get this notarized. And then they're calling us early morning. So no matter what, there's always somewhere in the world that it's the perfect time for them and the perfect time for you. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I hope you have a happy holiday season and a happy new year.
Right back at you, sir.
All right. Hi, friends.
Hola, amigos.
Are you ready to take your notary skills and business to the next level?
We can start from the beginning with setting up your notary business.
Or we can just jump right into perfecting your loan signing agent skills with over 30 different loan products.
And when you're ready to take on online notary,
We got you covered.
We can teach you how to market your notary business locally and nationally.
We're here for you every day, whether it be in live classes
Or on our notary support line.
our goal is your success.
And if you cannot make it to our live classes or webinars, don't worry.
We record everything so it fits in your schedule.
Join us.
join the family.
Join the movement.
Expand your horizons.
Become a notary star.